Recently I reacted to Roy and HG interviewing ex-Australian Prime Minister Bob Hawke. Really enjoyed the interview. Bob was just amazing, really enjoyed listening to him speak, and I was very impressed with Roy and HG's questioning, their interview style, and I found an interview where they actually interview another ex-Australian Prime Minister. This time it's called Paul Keating. Again, I've actually never heard of Paul Keating before, so as with the previous video, tell me your memories of Paul Keating, what you think about him. And yeah, let's watch this one. This is from March 1996, it says here.
Frank Maguire. Finally tonight, the election confrontation that could change the course of the campaign. The no-nonsense hard men of the Australian media who tell it like it is have finally nailed the toughest man in politics today. Roy Slaven and H.G. Nelson are with P.J. Keating.
P.J. Keating.
Thanks very much, Bloodnut Kerry. Now, thanks for stopping by, Paul, and just before I let Roy loose to have a snap at the ankles, can I ask you about the position coming into this week, the last week of the campaign? When Roy and I were running for office, we liked at this stage to have one hand on the opponent's cruets and the other around the neck and gradually wring him like a damp cloth until the brown began to ooze out. Is that your strategy for this week, Prime Minister?
No. I think my strategy for this week is to just keep telling our story.
Yes.
Let people see where we are, understand what all the issues are, and any ringing out that was done on the debate.
Paul, you and I go back a hell of a long way. And I was just thinking the other day of the maiden speech you gave in Parliament in 1969. And one of the key themes, or my reading of it, was that it was a nice idea to have the little woman around the house. Now, I noticed this week you're planning to jump on the brokers within your own party to ensure that more women are given seats that have a fair chance of being won. This represents a philosophical change.
Same idea, having more women around the house.
Well, how can you be critical of John Howard for the getting of wisdom with regard to Medicare when you've got wisdom yourself in this instance?
Yeah, well, it's the same idea, isn't it? Women around the house, in this case the House of Representatives. But I mean, I think that when we have more of the population, more represented, we are all stronger. And I don't think we can delude ourselves if it's only us, I mean males, and not enough of the females.
Yes.
We won't be the society and we won't be the group of government, the parliament.
Yes.
We won't be as strong as we ought to be. We won't be as representative. We won't be as understanding. We won't be as savvy.
Yeah. This is terrific. I agree with every word you say. But this is in contrast to what you were saying in 1969. That's the point
okay, right. Well, look,
you know what I mean? We all grow.
Yeah.
Johnny Howard's grown. You've grown. The country's grown.
He's not grown. He's had his growth has been restrained. Let me say that. But we're still saying similar things. We've now introduced a parenting allowance, a home child care allowance. We're giving people choice.
Yes.
They can stay at home or they can go to work. We've got childcare if they want to go to work. They've got a support if they want to stay at home. And it's more a matter of choice rather than a matter of place.
Prime Minister, look, I think a lot of people have, obviously it's a truism to say a lot of the population's cynical because they basically believe they're left out of this. Now, what we're looking at here in the election is a stark choice between proven failure, your side, and potential disaster on the other. And I believe that it's only this narrow 5% in the middle there, these so-called swinging voters who this election's aimed at. Now, this abandons, obviously, whole heaps on the edges. And I think this week, Prime Minister, if I could put it in a seeding idea here tonight on the 7:30 report, make a dash for the hills. Get up there on the high ground, see the opposition coming, and give us a bit more of, the stuff to do with ideas and where we're going and what sort of people we're going to be. I know you got onto that jag the other day, but I think you've got to push it on further and press home the advantage, if there is an advantage at the moment. I mean, I'll go out in the blaze of glory, but this whimpering towards the line on both sides, I'd put my hands up and say, one, H.G. Nelson has had enough.
Well, I'd endorse that. I would take to the hill and I'd set a bloody flyer so the Labor Party could have a light on the hill again, Prime Minister. And with the light from that hill, I'd buy back the Commonwealth Bank, I'd buy back Qantas, you know what I mean? I'd re-regulate the banks and I'd get a little bit of bloody honesty around the marketplace once more, like it used to be.
Yeah, well,
is that an idea?
Well, you'd go well in some Labor branches. I think we're the only people in the market with a commodity that is about the future of Australia, how we see it growing, how we see it developing, and linking it into Asia. That we want to celebrate our identity, realise the fact that we are unique, that we're not a derivative society. We've come from other places, but we no longer belong to another place. That we have an Australian as our head of state. I mean, one of the things I'm saying to my mate, Johnny Howard, is does he think any one of us is good enough to be the head of state of the rest of us?
Who would you like to see as Australia's first president? Anyone come into mind?
No one.
Any names in the frame?
No one
at all?
particularly. Just that we have a first president. I want to see that.
Yeah. If, say, Mr. Howard was to win on Saturday, and can you see he and President Suharto sitting around having a lot of gags
With the shirts on.
with the shirts on? And
Yeah, I can see that. Yes, I really can.
Well, look, on that cheery note, thanks very much, Paul Keating, for coming in. Good luck on Saturday.
Good on you, HG.
We did offer the opponents, obviously, equal time, Mr. Howard and so on, but they refused to come on. And with that,
You should have asked the keeper.
Andrew Robb. No, he said no as well.
He's the one who runs them. He's the puppet master.
And with that final thought, back to you, Red Cares.
And of course, Roy and HG will be joining the ABC's election night coverage. That's the program.
Yeah, I've got to say, man, again, I absolutely love Roy and HG's way of interviewing. That was a very different style compared to their interview with Bob Hawke that I watched. Everything from the way they questioned the Prime Minister to the actual setup of them sitting like directly across from him. It was really like they were grilling them. And I know they're doing it with like for comedic effect, like being a bit over dramatic, but actually the questions they were actually asking were very pertinent and very good questions, like they were with Bob Hawke. But really great. I would love to see them just interviewing different people, especially politicians, and really hitting them with some hard questions. Paul Keating actually came across very well, like another very personable leader in Australia. Tell me if he won that election that was coming up at that time, and tell me what you think about him as well. And yeah, keep recommending more from Roy and HG, and I'll check it out soon. Thanks.